The alarm rang through the command center of the Velar flagship. Admiral Torek looked up from his meal and frowned. He had been eating a quiet dinner when the noise started. He wiped his mouth and walked slowly to the main bridge. He was not worried. Nothing worried him anymore. He had commanded the Velar fleet for 60 years. He had seen everything. "What is it?" he asked as he entered the bridge. Sub-Commander Velsa turned to face him. She was young for her position, but she was smart. Torek trusted her more than most of his officers. "Admiral, we have detected an unknown vessel entering our space. It came through the jump point 7 minutes ago." Torek walked to the main screen. The image showed a small ship floating in the darkness of space. It was not impressive. It was gray and simple. It looked like something a poor colony might build. "What species?" he asked. "Humans, sir." Torek's eyes widened slightly. Humans. He had heard stories about them. They were a young species. They had only made contact with the galactic community 40 years ago. Most of the older races considered them children. They were not important. "Just one ship?" Torek asked. "Yes, Admiral. Just one." Torek laughed. The sound echoed through the bridge. Some of his officers smiled nervously. They did not understand the joke, but they knew better than to question the Admiral. "Are they lost?" Torek asked. "Do they not know where they are?" Valsa checked her screen. "The ship is called the HSS Endurance. It is a patrol vessel. Medium size. Standard weapons. Nothing special." Torek looked at his fleet through the window. 200 warships floated in perfect formation around the flagship. Each one was powerful enough to destroy a small moon. Together, they could burn entire planets. And the humans had sent one ship. "Open a channel," Torek ordered. "Let us see what these children want." The screen flickered. A moment later, a human face appeared. It was a man with dark hair and calm eyes. He wore a simple gray uniform. He did not look afraid. He did not look impressed. He just looked patient. "This is Captain Park Do-hyun of the HSS Endurance," the human said. "We are responding to a distress signal from a human mining colony on the edge of your space. The colony has gone silent. We request permission to investigate." Torek leaned forward. "Captain, you have entered Velar territory without permission. This space belongs to the collective. Your colony is in our domain now." Captain Park did not blink. "Our people may be in danger. We need to reach them." "That is not my concern," Torek said. "You have 1 hour to turn your ship around and leave. If you do not, we will destroy you." There was silence on the bridge. Everyone waited for the human to panic. Everyone waited for him to beg. But Captain Park just nodded slowly. "I understand your position, Admiral," he said. "But I cannot leave without checking on our people. We will proceed to the colony." Torek felt his blood grow hot. No one had spoken to him like this in decades. No one dared. "You have one ship, Captain. I have 200. Do you understand what that means?" "I understand perfectly," Captain Park said. "We will still proceed." The channel closed. Torek stared at the blank screen. His hands were shaking with anger. Around him, his officers whispered to each other. They could not believe what they had just seen. "Admiral," Valsa said quietly, "perhaps we should let them pass. It is just one ship. They are no threat to us." "No threat?" Torek turned to face her. "They insulted us. They defied us. If we let them pass, every species in the galaxy will think the Velar are weak. Is that what you want?" Valsa lowered her eyes. "No, Admiral." "Good." Torek looked at the human ship on the screen. It was still moving forward. It was not turning back. "Power all weapons." If they will not leave, we will teach them a lesson they will never forget. On the HSS Endurance, Captain Park Do-yoon walked back to his command chair. His crew was watching him. They were not afraid either. They had trained for situations like this. They knew what their ship could do. Lieutenant Yoon Hana sat at the tactical station. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. She had been with the Endurance for 3 years. She had seen combat before. Captain, the Velar fleet is powering weapons. All 200 ships. I see them, Park said. Orders, sir? Park sat down in his chair. He looked at the screen. The Velar fleet was massive. Any other species would be terrified. Any other species would run. But humans were not any other species. Continue on course, Park said. Raise shields. Prepare defensive systems. But do not fire unless I give the order. Yes, sir. Engineer Baek Jisoo's voice came through the speaker. She was down in the engine room, surrounded by machines and computers. Captain, I have Protocol 7 ready. Just say the word. Stand by, Jisoo. Let's see what they do first. The Endurance moved forward. It was a small gray dot surrounded by 200 giants. It should have been scared. It should have been running. But it kept moving forward, steady and calm, like a wolf walking through a field of sheep. Admiral Torek watched the human ship approach. He could not understand it. He had given them a chance to leave. He had warned them. Why were they not afraid? Sir, one of his officers said, the human ship is not changing course. They are heading directly for the colony. Then they have chosen death, Torek said. He raised his hand. All ships, prepare to fire on my command. 200 warships turned their weapons toward the Endurance. 200 targeting systems locked onto the small gray ship. 200 crews waited for the order to fire. And on the Endurance, Captain Park Do-hyun simply smiled. They have no idea, he said quietly to himself. They have no idea what we are. Lieutenant Yoon Hana heard him. She smiled too. Should I feel sorry for them, Captain? Park shook his head. Not yet. But soon they will wish they had listened. The countdown began. The Velar fleet prepared to attack. And the single human vessel flew forward into the darkness, ready to show the galaxy why humanity was not to be underestimated. Admiral Torek dropped his hand. The command was given. 30 Velar warships broke formation and moved to intercept the human vessel. They were the fastest ships in the fleet. They were designed to catch and destroy anything that tried to run, but the human ship was not running. Fire at will, Torek ordered. Disable their engines. I want that ship captured. I want to see the fear in their captain's eyes before we destroy them. The 30 ships opened fire. Missiles flew through space like a swarm of angry insects. Energy beams cut through the darkness. The attack was overwhelming. It was perfect. Nothing could survive such power. On the Endurance, Lieutenant Yoon Hana watched her screens calmly. Incoming fire. 37 missiles. 12 energy beams. Impact in 8 seconds. Captain Park nodded. Jisoo, activate Protocol 7. Down in the engine room, Engineer Baek Jisoo pressed a button. She was a tall woman with messy hair and oil stains on her uniform. She loved machines more than people. And she loved this moment most of all. Protocol 7 active. Let's see what these aliens have got. The Velar weapons reached the Endurance. And then something strange happened. The missiles changed direction. They turned away from the human ship as if pushed by an invisible hand. They flew past the Endurance and disappeared into empty space. The energy beams hit the ship's shields and scattered like light through water. They did no damage. They left no mark. Admiral Torek leaned forward. What happened? Why did our weapons miss? His officers checked their screens. They ran tests. They checked again. Admiral, our targeting systems failed. All of them. At the same time. That is impossible, Torek said. Our technology is the best in the galaxy. Nothing can fool our systems. But something had. Something on that small gray ship had turned their weapons into toys. On the Endurance, Jisoo laughed. Admiral, their weapons are based on quantum targeting. We figured out how to break that system 20 years ago. Their missiles are using magnetic guidance. We can redirect those with our deflector array. And their energy weapons? She laughed again. My grandmother's ship had better guns. Captain Park smiled. Good work, Jisoo. Hana, return fire. Disable their engines. Do not destroy them. Yes, sir. Lieutenant Yoon Hana's fingers moved across her control panel, firing precision strikes. The Endurance shot back. It fired 30 times. Each shot was perfect. Each shot hit exactly where it needed to hit. In 12 seconds, all 30 Velar interceptors were floating dead in space. Their engines were gone. Their weapons were offline. But their crews were alive. Admiral Torek could not believe his eyes. He stared at the screen. His best ships have been defeated in seconds. Not destroyed, defeated, as if the humans were playing a game with children. How? He whispered. How is this possible? Sub-Commander Velsa stepped forward. Her face was pale. Admiral, I think we made a mistake. I think we should reconsider our approach. Reconsider? Torek turned to her. His eyes were wild with anger and confusion. They are one ship, one. One ship that just disabled 30 of our best vessels in 12 seconds, Velsa said quietly. Without taking any damage. Without even trying hard. Torek was silent for a moment. He looked at the human ship on the screen. It was still moving forward. It was not celebrating. It was not stopping. It was just continuing on its path, as if the battle had been nothing more than a small delay. All ships, Torek said. His voice was harder now, colder, full attack. Every weapon, every ship. Destroy that vessel. Velsa grabbed his arm. Admiral, please. Something is wrong here. We should call for reinforcements. We should contact the Council. Torek pulled his arm away. The Council will hear of our victory, not our fear. All ships, attack now. The full Velar fleet moved. 200 warships surrounded the Endurance. They came from every direction. Above, below, left, right. There was no escape. There was nowhere to run. On the Endurance, Ensign Choi Min-ho sat at his weapon station. He was young. This was his first real mission. His hands were shaking slightly. Captain, we are surrounded. 200 enemy vessels. They are all targeting us. Captain Park stood up from his chair. He walked to the front of the bridge and looked at the screen. The Velar fleet filled the entire view. It was beautiful in a terrible way. All those ships, all that power, all pointed at them. Minho, Park said calmly. How do you feel? The young ensign swallowed. Nervous, sir. Very nervous. Good. That means you are paying attention. Park turned to face his crew. Everyone, listen to me. We are going to survive this. We are going to reach our people. And we are going to show these aliens something they have never seen before. What is that, Captain? Lieutenant Yoon Hana asked. Park smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator who had been playing with its food. We are going to show them what humans can really do. The Velar fleet opened fire. Thousands of missiles. Hundreds of energy beams. The attack was so massive that it blocked out the stars, and the Endurance flew straight into it. Evasive pattern Delta 9, Park ordered. Jisoo, full power to shields. Hana, return fire at will. Target their weapons only. We do not kill, unless we have to. The small gray ship began to dance. It spun and turned and twisted through the storm of weapons fire. Missiles exploded around it. Energy beams passed through empty space where it had been a moment before. The ship moved like nothing the Velar had ever seen. It was too fast, too agile, too perfect. Admiral Tarek watched in horror. His entire fleet was firing. Every ship, every weapon, and the human vessel was dodging everything. It was impossible. It was unnatural. It was terrifying. What are they? He whispered. What kind of monsters are these humans? No one answered. No one knew. But everyone in the Velar fleet was beginning to understand that they had made a terrible, terrible mistake. The battle had been going on for 10 minutes. To Admiral Tarek, it felt like 10 hours. His fleet was firing everything they had. Missiles, beams, torpedoes, plasma cannons. The space around the human ship was filled with explosions and fire. And the Endurance was still flying. Not just flying, dancing. The small gray ship moved through the chaos like a fish swimming through water. It turned at impossible angles. It accelerated faster than anything Tarek had ever seen. And every few seconds, it fired back. Small, precise shots that hit his ships exactly where they hurt most. 87 of his vessels were now disabled. Not destroyed. Disabled. The humans could have killed thousands of his crew members. Instead, they had simply removed their ability to fight. It was like being beaten by someone who was not even trying. Admiral, one of his officers called out. We have lost targeting on the human ship again. They are jamming our systems. Tarek slammed his fist on his chair. How? How are they doing this? No one had an answer. On the Endurance, the crew worked together like a single organism. Each person knew their job. Each person trusted the others completely. There was no panic. There was no fear. There was only focus. Chief Petty Officer Han Taiyang stood at a secondary gun station near the back of the ship. He was an older man with gray hair and scars on his hands. He had been fighting since before most of the crew was born. He had seen wars that would give most species nightmares. As he fired at another Velar ship, he thought about humanity's history. His grandfather had told him stories about the old wars on Earth. Wars between nations. Wars between religions. Wars between ideas. Humans had been killing each other for thousands of years. They had gotten very, very good at it. Then they reached the stars. And they found that the galaxy was not peaceful either. There were the Harkons, a warrior race that tried to enslave human colonies. The war lasted 50 years. The Harkons no longer existed. There was the machine collective, artificial intelligences that saw organic life as a virus to be cleaned. That war lasted 30 years. The machines were now scattered metal floating in dead space. Every enemy had thought humans were weak. Every enemy had been wrong. Han Taiyang disabled another Velar ship with a single shot. That is 102, he said to himself. Getting close to my record. Dr. Quan Sujin walked through the ship, checking on the crew. She was the medical officer, but she was also trained in xenobiology. She studied alien species. She understood how they thought, how they felt, how they reacted to stress. She stopped at the bridge door and watched Captain Park command the battle. His heart rate was normal. His breathing was calm. His movements were relaxed. To anyone watching, it would look like he was playing a simple game, not fighting for his life against 200 warships. This was what made humans dangerous, she realized. Not their weapons, not their ships, their minds. Humans could stay calm when everything was chaos. They could think clearly when death was all around them. They had evolved on a planet that tried to kill them every single day. Fear was just another feeling to be controlled. Doctor, Captain Park called without turning around. How is the crew? Everyone is fine, Captain. Stress levels are within normal range. Good. We should be through this soon. Soon. He said it like they were almost finished with a boring task. 200 enemy ships, and he was bored. Admiral Torek was not bored. Admiral Torek was terrified. He had lost over 100 ships now, more than half his fleet. And the human vessel did not have a single scratch on it. His officers were looking at him with fear in their eyes. Some were whispering that they should retreat. Others were saying nothing at all. Why? Torek finally asked. The word came out broken, confused. Why did they send only one ship? Sub-Commander Velsa stepped forward. She had been watching the battle with growing horror. She had studied humans before. She had read reports from other species who had encountered them. She had thought the reports were exaggerations, lies meant to scare children. Now she knew the truth. "Admiral," she said quietly, "I think I understand now." "Then tell me," Torek shouted. "Tell me why one ship is defeating my entire fleet." Velsa took a deep breath. "Because one ship is all they need." The words hung in the air. Torek stared at her like she was speaking a foreign language. "What do you mean?" he asked. "The humans did not send one ship because they underestimate us," Velsa explained. "They sent one ship because that is what they calculated was necessary. They looked at our fleet. They analyzed our weapons. They measured our capabilities. And they decided that one patrol vessel was enough to handle us." Torek shook his head. "That is insane. That is arrogant beyond belief." "No, Admiral." Velsa pointed at the screen. "That is accurate. Look at the battle. They are not struggling. They are not desperate. They are handling us easily. If they had sent 2 ships, it would have been overkill. If they had sent a fleet, it would have been wasteful. One ship was the correct choice. The efficient choice. The human choice." Torek sat back in his chair. His hands were trembling. He had commanded fleets for 60 years. He had won battles that seemed impossible. He had never, not once, felt so completely outmatched. "What do we do?" he asked. His voice was small, broken. "We stop fighting," Velsa said. "We let them pass. And we pray that they continue to show mercy. Because if they decide to stop being gentle, Admiral, there will be nothing left of us to retreat." On the Endurance, Captain Park watched another group of Vela ships go dark. The battle was almost over. Most of the enemy fleet was either disabled or had stopped firing. The remaining ships were pulling back, uncertain and afraid. "Captain," Lieutenant Yunhana said, "the Vela flagship is hailing us." Park smiled. "Finally, put them through." Admiral Tarek's face appeared on the screen. He looked older than before. Tired. Defeated. "Captain Park," he said slowly, "I would like to discuss terms." "There are no terms to discuss," Park said simply. "We are going to check on our people. You are going to let us pass. When we are done, we will leave your space. This does not need to become a war." Torek nodded slowly. "And if we had destroyed your ship?" "What then?" Park's eyes grew cold. "Then humanity would have sent more ships. Many more. And this conversation would not be happening. Because there would be no one left to talk to. The channel closed. The Vela fleet parted like water around a stone. And the Endurance flew forward, alone and unafraid, toward the human colony that needed its help. The Endurance flew past the broken Vela fleet. Captain Park watched the disabled ships drift in the darkness. Their lights were flickering. Their engines were dead. But their crews were alive. He had made sure of that. "Captain," Lieutenant Yunhana said, "we are receiving a transmission from the Vylar homeworld. Someone named Elder Moravin is requesting to speak with us." Park raised an eyebrow. "Elder Moravin. I have heard that name. He is one of the oldest members of the Vylar Council. He has lived for over 300 years. Should I put him through?" Yes, and call Ambassador Shin Yunji to the bridge. This might be important. A few minutes later, Ambassador Shin Yunji arrived on the bridge. She was a small woman with silver hair and calm eyes. She had spent her entire life talking to alien species. She knew how to find peace in the most difficult situations. The main screen flickered, and two faces appeared. One was Admiral Torek, looking tired and broken. The other was an ancient Veeler with deep wrinkles and wise eyes. Elder Moravin. Captain Park, Elder Moravin said. His voice was soft but carried authority. I have been watching your battle with great interest. I apologize for the actions of our fleet. Admiral Torek acted without the full knowledge of the Council. Park nodded. I accept your apology, Elder, but I want to understand something. Why did your people attack us? We only wanted to help our colonists. Elder Moravin was silent for a moment. Then he turned to Admiral Torek. Tell him, Admiral. Tell him why you attacked. Torek's face twisted with shame. We thought you were weak. We thought one ship meant you did not take us seriously. We thought we could destroy you easily and claim your colony for ourselves. And now? Park asked. Now I understand we were fools. Elder Moravin nodded slowly. Admiral Torek represents the thinking of many younger Veeler. They see humans as newcomers. Children who stumbled into the galaxy by accident. They do not know the truth about your species. Ambassador Shin Yunji stepped forward. And what is the truth, Elder? The old Veeler looked at her with something that might have been respect. Or fear. Or both. The truth, Ambassador, is that humanity is the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. Not because of your weapons. Not because of your ships. But because of what you are. And what are we? Park asked. Elder Moravin leaned back in his chair. You are survivors. Your planet Earth is what we call a death world. The gravity is crushing. The weather is violent. The animals are predators. Diseases spread like fire. And yet, somehow you survived. You did not just survive. You conquered your world. You became the apex predators of a planet that should have killed you. He paused, letting his words sink in. But that was only the beginning. After you conquered your world, you turned on each other. Your history is filled with wars. Thousands of wars. Millions of deaths. You fought over land, over resources, over ideas, over nothing at all. Any other species would have destroyed themselves. But not humans. Each war made you stronger. Each battle taught you new ways to fight. You perfected the art of destruction, while other species were still learning to build. Admiral Torek was staring at the screen. His face was pale. He had not known any of this. Elder Moravin continued. When you finally reached the stars, you met other species who thought they could defeat you. The Harkins. The Machine Collective, the Crimson Empire. All of them are gone now. Not because you wanted to destroy them, but because they would not stop attacking you. They pushed you until you had no choice but to push back. And when humans push back, nothing survives. We do not want war, Ambassador Shin Yunji said quietly. We have never wanted war. I know, Elder Moravin said. That is what makes you so terrifying. You are capable of incredible violence, but you choose peace. You could have destroyed Admiral Torek's fleet in minutes. Instead, you disabled them. You showed mercy when you had every right to show none. That kind of control, that kind of discipline, is rare in the galaxy. Most species who are powerful become cruel, but humans remain kind. Even when kindness is not deserved. Captain Park felt something tighten in his chest. He thought about all the battles he had fought, all the enemies he had faced, all the times he could have killed but chose not to. It was exhausting sometimes, holding back when it would be so easy to let go. We know what we are capable of, Park said. That is exactly why we hold back. Because if we do not, we become monsters. And there are already enough monsters in the galaxy. Elder Moravin smiled. It was a sad smile, filled with understanding. I have studied your species for many years, Captain. I have read your histories. I have watched your wars. And I have come to one conclusion. Humans are not monsters. You are something far more dangerous. You are monsters who choose to be good. The words hung in the air. No one spoke for a long moment. Finally, Admiral Torek stepped forward. Captain Park, I owe you an apology. A real one. I attacked you because I was arrogant. I thought my fleet made me powerful. But true power is not about how many ships you have. It is about knowing when to use them and when to hold back. You taught me that today. I will not forget. Park nodded. I accept your apology, Admiral. Let us hope this is the beginning of a better relationship between our peoples. Elder Moravin raised his hand. I will personally recommend to the Council that we open full diplomatic relations with humanity. We have been watching you from a distance for too long. It is time to become friends rather than remain strangers. Or worse, become enemies. Ambassador Shin Yunji bowed her head. Thank you, Elder. I believe this can be the start of something good. The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet. The crew stood at their stations, thinking about what they had just heard. Lieutenant Yunhana turned to Captain Park. Do you think they really understand now? Do you think they know what we are? Park looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, his people were waiting. 12 colonists who needed help. That was all that mattered right now. Maybe, he said, but it does not matter if they understand us. What matters is that they respect us. And after today, I think they do. The Endurance continued forward, leaving the broken fleet behind. Ahead, the mining colony waited. And Captain Park hoped, more than anything, that his people were still alive. The mining colony appeared on the screen like a wounded animal. Half of the buildings were destroyed. Smoke rose from broken structures. The landing pad was covered with debris. But there were lights. Small flickering lights that meant someone was still alive. I am detecting life signs, Lieutenant Yunhana reported. 12 humans. They are gathered in the main shelter. They are gathered in the main shelter. Captain Park felt relief wash over him. 12 people. That was everyone. Prepare a landing team. I am going down personally. Captain, is that wise? Dr. Kwon Sujin asked. We do not know what attacked this colony. It could still be dangerous. Park stood up from his chair. Those are our people down there. They've been waiting for help. I will not make them wait 1 minute longer than necessary. The landing shuttle touched down on the broken pad. Captain Park led the team out, followed by Dr. Kwon Sujin, Chief Petty Officer Han Taiyang, and 6 security officers. The air smelled like smoke and burned metal. The ground was covered with scorch marks from weapons fire. This was not the Velar, Han Taiyang said, examining the damage. The weapon signatures are different. These marks come from Keshan plasma rifles. Raiders, Park said. The Keshans have been attacking colonies in this sector for years. They must have hit this place before we arrived. They moved toward the main shelter. The door was reinforced with metal scraps. Someone had barricaded themselves inside. Park knocked on the door. This is Captain Park Do-hyun of the HSS Endurance. We received your distress signal. You are safe now. There was silence. Then the sound of metal moving. The door opened slowly and a face appeared. It was a woman with dirty hair and exhausted eyes. She looked at Park like she could not believe what she was seeing. You came, she whispered. We sent the signal weeks ago. We thought no one was coming. We came as fast as we could, Park said. How many survivors are there? 12. All of us. The woman stepped aside to let them in. The raiders attacked without warning. They killed our security team. They took our supplies. We have been hiding here ever since, hoping someone would find us. The shelter was small and crowded. 12 people sat on the floor, wrapped in blankets. Some were injured. Some were sleeping. A young girl, maybe 8 years old, sat in the corner, holding a broken doll. Dr. Kwon Soo-jin immediately went to work. She moved from person to person, checking injuries, giving medicine, speaking soft words of comfort. 3 of the colonists were seriously hurt. She called for medical supplies from the ship. Han Taiyang stood guard at the door, watching for any sign of the raiders. Park walked through the shelter, speaking to each person. He learned their names. He heard their stories. He promised them that everything would be okay. The young girl with the broken doll looked up at him. Her eyes were large and sad. "Are you a soldier?" she asked. Park knelt down beside her. "Yes, I am. My parents were soldiers too. The bad people killed them." Park felt his heart break a little. He had seen too many children like this. Children who had lost everything because someone decided to hurt innocent people. "I am sorry," he said. "I am so sorry." The girl held up her broken doll. "Can you fix her?" Park took the doll gently. One arm was missing. The face was cracked. But he smiled. "I will try. We have someone on my ship who's very good at fixing things." The evacuation took several hours. The colonists were brought to the Endurance one by one. Dr. Kwon Soo-jin treated the injured in the medical bay. Engineer Beat Jisoo found parts to repair the little girl's doll. Lieutenant Yoon Hana prepared rooms for everyone to sleep. When it was done, Captain Park returned to the bridge. The colony was empty now. There was nothing left but broken buildings and bad memories. "Set course for home," he ordered. "Maximum speed." The Endurance turned away from the colony and jumped to hyperspace. The stars stretched into lines of light, and then they were gone. Admiral Torek watched the human ship disappear from his sensors. His fleet was still damaged. Repair crews were working around the clock. It would take weeks to fix everything the humans had broken. Sub-Commander Velsa stood beside him. "They saved their people," she said. That was all they wanted. They were telling the truth from the beginning. Torek nodded slowly. "I could have let them pass without a fight. I could have saved my fleet and my pride. Instead, I learned a lesson that cost me both." "What lesson, Admiral?" Torek looked at the empty space where the human ship had been. "Never judge a species by how they look. Never assume you are stronger because you have more ships. And never, ever underestimate humans." On the Endurance, the rescued colonists were settling into their temporary quarters. The young girl had gotten her doll back, fixed and clean. She was smiling for the first time in weeks. Captain Park stood on the observation deck, looking out at the swirling colors of hyperspace. Ambassador Shin Yoonji joined him. "Elder Moravin has contacted me," she said. "The Velar Council has agreed to open diplomatic relations. They want to sign a peace treaty." "Good," Park said. "Maybe something good will come from all this." "You showed them what we are capable of," Shin Yoonji said. "But more importantly, you showed them what we choose not to do. That scared them more than anything." Park smiled slightly. "We could have destroyed them. Every ship. Every crew member. We had the power. But power without control is just violence. We are better than that." Lieutenant Yoon Hana approached them. "Captain, we will reach Earth space in 3 days. Command has already sent congratulations on the successful mission." "It was not successful because we won a battle," Park said. "It was successful because we saved 12 people. That is what matters." Hannah smiled. "You never change, Captain. Always focused on what is important." Park looked out at the stars. Somewhere behind them, the villa were learning to see humans differently. Somewhere ahead, 12 colonists were going home. And somewhere in the galaxy, other species were hearing stories about the single human ship that defeated 200 warships without killing a single person. "Do you think they will remember us?" Hannah asked. "They will remember," Park said. "They will tell stories about today for generations. Not stories about how powerful we were, but stories about how we could have been cruel and chose to be kind instead." He turned away from the window and walked back toward the bridge. There was still work to do. There was always work to do. But for now, he allowed himself a small moment of peace. The Endurance flew on through the stars, carrying its precious cargo home. One ship, one crew, one mission completed. And somewhere in the galaxy, every species that heard the story asked the same question. Just one vessel? Why is a single human craft enough? Now they knew the answer. Because sometimes one is all you need.